Get out of the short. Get out of the short. Make it a bit wider. Hey. All right, bud. Just driving a mini bus back that way, bud.
Yeah.
Ready?
You doing it?
Back,
Yeah, I got notification.
Huh? It's not a mini bus, but
I got
mini bus back
notification.
that way. No, when did we fly?
No,
Dunny do.
we're going.
I'll never forget it. I've got this splitting headache, and they're telling me, because Roy was saying, go this way, Scotty, go this way. No, it doesn't look familiar. No, I can't really look on. It's right, it's right. And I'm going past all these, no, I don't really go past here. We pull up into Dunny Hill, I thought, you're kidding me.
Okay, you ready to do this, mate? Make your TV debut. Yeah. Good. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Hey, hey. Coming to you live inside Lesburger Field, Cabarita, New South Wales. This is the major semi-final of the NRRRL. Ballina versus Tweed Coast. And it's a very good morning to you. I'm Dwayne Neville once again to bring you the coverage here via the YouTube live stream on the NRRRL page via Facebook. As we see the Morris brothers and the officials come out for our first match of the ladies' take, I want to bring in my co-commentator for today's action, Nathan Cross. Nathan, thank you for joining the coverage today, Kit.
G'day Dwayne, great to be here mate. As the rain gets heavier and heavier, but what a good day. Tweed Coast Raiders, they've had a great year in the A grade and that's why we're here today.
Exactly right, and of course I do mention that today's winners will then indeed earn the hosting rights for this year's grand final in 2 weeks' time. Others, Rams come out. They will of course take on last week's winners versus the Ballina Seagulls in the Byron Bay Red Devils as they now come out onto the field. We will give you the tally tape between the two teams. First for the Morris brothers. We have number 1, Shataya King, and she is paired in the back line with Michaela Piggott, Alicia Good, Lily Patterson and Victoria O'Neill. In the halves we have Hayley McAnally and Jessica Raitt. In the forwards we have Tequila Glue, Jada Williams, Erica Butcher, and with Zataya Conte a late withdrawal. She is replaced by Georgia Davis. Stephanie Good and Ruby Anderson complete the lineup, as well as Confiance Ignizia and Courtney King. For the Byron Bay team, we have Angela Vannery. We have a late withdrawal of Hannah Roberts. She is replaced by Sarah Logan. Megan Curran and Shania Crowd complete the back line. Kathleen Oliver, Kelly Dunbar-Reid, Chloe Jeffrey and Tegan Miller. So Crossy, you obviously know the Byron Bay team well. What will they need to do to get the job done against Morris Brothers today?
This will be a good game today. I mean, obviously we've got the rematch from last year's grand final and very much arch rivals, these two teams. Very healthy respect for each other. So looking forward to this game. I think it's really going to be simple footy early on and then just sort of pan out from there.
Of course, Morris Brothers come in as the minor premiers, two-time minor premiers with a 15-2 record. There are only 2 losses as we get underway in this one. Their 2 losses actually came back to back, Crossy. As we just see there, and there's a late infringement. The wet ball's already proven to be a villain for the players there, Crossy.
Yeah, well, it didn't take us long to see the weather come into play, did we? And I think we can expect a lot more of that throughout the other 3 games here today. But this will be a good test for Byron early on. Have to defend their line and see what Morris Brothers can throw them early.
Of course, our other feature games today, Ballina versus Coogin in the under-18s grand final. So one of 2 grand final replays from last year. This is Victoria O'Neill. And I think she might have got an early one for the Morris Brothers. Referee Brad Goodwin has just confirmed it, 4-0 Morris Brothers.
That didn't take long at all. I think we've had drop off from the kick-off, drop out, and they're straight into it straight away. So, but look, on a positive note, that could be a good settler for Byron Bay. Just flush out, get on with it. With the Morris Brothers, they take the early ascendancy.
And of course, that just shows why the Morris Brothers are indeed 2-time minor premiers. Their list consists of Lily Patterson, who's their top try scorer of 19 tries. She's 2nd overall in the competition, as well as the 3rd overall point scorer in Shataya King for 92 points. They feature 7 players from that featured in the representative team that featured against the Greater Northern Tigers this year, including the 4 out there for Byron Bay today. So that's about 3/4 of that ladies tag team out there on show today.
And of course the coach,
Keegan, yeah, he's there as well.
He's a very animated character. He loves his footy. And,
Exactly.
He puts a lot into it. So I hope for his sake they do well.
As the kick there was unsuccessful, early start there for the Morris Brothers, 4-0. As I was mentioning, Morris Brothers are in fact on an 11-game winning streak. They had their 2 losses come back to back mid-season. They have both of their losses though have come when they've scored 10 points or less. So
that could be interesting today, given the conditions.
So for the Morris brothers, 10 points or more is their magic number. Of course, Byron Bay, they were last start winners over Ballina last week. Ballina actually went out in straight sets. They succumbed to the Tweed Coast Raiders yesterday. Of course, today's...
I tuned in for some of that game yesterday, and that was a surprise result for you.
I could say so. Well, the funny thing is Kev said in the commentary yesterday that every team that won last week, so being fourth place, every team that won last Saturday won yesterday. And so anyone that finished in fourth. So, and as I've said it time and time again, and probably will for the rest of this final series, that this competition is a new competition. All the stats and all that do not matter. And as you can see, as I was also mentioned in Group 2 action today, that you got third versus fifth playing in their grand final down there today in Coffs Harbour. Coffs Harbour and Maxville. Maxville is a team who actually had more losses than wins and is yet to feature in the grand final. So it's all a matter of what happens on the day, Crossies, you know?
Yeah, it's momentum in the semi-finals, is everything.
As we focus on the action, and I think Morris will get another set of sixes there. I think that came off the hands, or I couldn't quite make it. Yeah, it came off
That was Crowther.
Shannon Crowther.
I'll tell you what, for the Byron Bay fans, we'll be hoping to see her get the ball more in space because she's one of the fastest players in the competition. She's a pleasure to watch in open play.
And as we see there, Victoria O'Neill hands it right back to Byron. Yeah, so I was calling that game last week, Crossy against Ballina. She scored a couple of tries herself. She was the most influential player for the Devils.
Definitely.
This is Dunbar Reid. She's got it on their own 40-metre line. This is going to be now Candice Lamilla. So Byron, you'd have to agree with Crossy that ball control is definitely going to be the most. That's what we're going to decide the outcome of this game.
Yeah, it's critical, especially early on, just to get a bit of momentum and confidence out of this semi-final.
I think that, and they go for the early kick there on the fourth phase. Well read there in attack. I think this is Michaela Piggott, one of the representatives. I couldn't quite make out the number. They've taken it 35 minutes out from their own line. I think this could be... I think that was actually Confluence Igraneza. Bit of a tongue twister, that name, Crossy.
They look good, Marsh brothers. They're going in pairs, plenty of numbers around the ball,
Yeah.
so there'll be a threat for Byron Bay.
They're playing on the short side of field. This is a nice run by Lily Patterson, another one of those representatives for the Northern Rivers team. This is O'Neill. And
Shanae Eberlin, a couple of good tags there. She's a very good player.
played off there by Jada Williams, off to Piggott. Nice kick across there by McAnally. And, oh, she was keen to glide that across, as we saw in the game yesterday between Roosters and the Broncos. There was a bit of kicking action to slide across, especially across the damp patch there, just to get that extra glide.
Strategically.
Just a bit strategically. These two teams have featured during the course of the season. In the opening round, Morris Brothers have won both games coming into this one. Of course, the referee today is Brad Goodwin. He was also the official for Byron and Ballina last week. As we get, they take it on.
Byron having a carry.
Yeah, she's got it on the 20-metre line. They're just playing safe, Byron. Getting off some early kicks. As Morris Brothers will have their first set of six inside Byron half a field. They're very sublime in attack there. That was Shataya King.
Obviously played with the Roosters in the under-18s this year.
Really?
Very exciting player.
Yeah.
Daughter of Chris King, very well-known player for a long time in the Northern Rivers.
But in both of these two teams here, both for the Devils and Morris Brothers. Featured in the 2014 Grand Final squad for the Bay, I can recall, yeah, as you know.
Played with Chris, very good player, champion fella also.
This is Michaela Piggott, nice run. And they'll get the first penalty of the game, Morris Brothers. As you can hear behind us, they've got a bit of a squad here, but bit of a following.
Following, yeah, you got Benny, the cartoon character there, the long-standing there.
done to their homegrown Crozier Field. That's what Brad Goodwin will tell it to take that one back. Yeah.
Well, that's fantastic.
That's good to see.
There's a comeback short side here.
Nice little run. That was SemieBallina. They're playing that short side of field. It worked for them last week, but they're playing with fire, getting so close to that line, especially in this wet weather, Crossy.
Yeah, they're playing to the wing of Crowther, which is smart, but they're not trying to work it there.
That's a nice run. I think that was Stephanie Good, another one of those representative players from the start of the year. And it's really showing, especially in this wet weather. And another penalty conceded by Byron.
Well, that's the second penalty Byron given away for just getting the body in front and a bit of contact there. So Keegan, coach for Byron Bay, won't be too happy with that.
They can ill afford any opportunities because and as you can see, that's a bit of wet ball right there. That was well collected there by Dunbar Reed. Played off there by Christina Roberts. Oh, that was
Lamilla, she's down. A little bit of push and shove there, Dwayne.
I think while she was down, she could have been gone for the Jim Carrey cable guy slide up. There's even money on that. At least some player in the 4 games doing that today, Crossy. Doing their best Jim Carrey impersonation across that puddle. Not enough water there yet.
We may even see you do it at home.
Maybe. As we see 40 metres out on the Byron half of field. This is going to be Christina Roberts, the captain. She loves to kick that ball. She did a bit of that last week. Alicia Good to collect it. Nice run there by Shate. I think that's... Couldn't quite make... That is Shate-king.
I'd like to see her get in space and have to be chased down by Shannon Crowther. That'd be a good match race.
And we've seen like the fastest player, not just in the ladies, but also in the men. We saw in yesterday's game, as we see there, Morris Brothers get another penalty. Third one in a row, Byron have conceded, Crossy.
It's killing them, mate. Like they just can't get any cohesion at the moment or momentum the Bay. So as you said, Keegan certainly address that at half time.
As I was just mentioning, in yesterday's A-grade fixture between the Hornets, the Coogin Hornets, and Moolumbai Mustangs, it was Jack Bishop who went for the run, and normally when he runs, he goes, but he was well dispersed there by Shannon Walker, who, in Kev's opinion, were the 2 fastest players in the NRRRL.
They were good to watch yesterday. Walker scored a try at the death there.
Exactly.
Exactly. It just didn't go the game.
Yeah.
For them to be a threat.
Did have a bit of a brain stat when he gave away that second hit, but as you learn from it, even the best do it.
This is good ball movement here by Morris Brothers in the wet.
That is a nice run by Victoria O'Neill. This could be second points. Just dispersed, just short of the line. They're in well position there, the brothers. This is McAnally. And it's going to fly into the hands that easily. Patterson. No try. 5th and last. Brad Goodwin signals 5th and last. Byron Canilla. This is Jada Williams. I think that just fell into the hands of the Bay. I think they've just got a Crossy.
Well, Dwayne, that was outstanding scrambling defence from Byron Bay. First one to the post, and then as they went to the right edge on the shift,
Of course.
I think it was Shannon Crowther that got the tag late. Outstanding. That's saved 4 points.
And then Morris Brothers, they will be begging to get that opportunity because even though they are the minor premiers, that Byron Bay are the defending major premiers.
That's right.
And this is probably a potential rehearsal for a potential grand final rematch in a couple of weeks.
2 weeks' time, you would think so.
Of course.
Stranger things have happened.
Of course, the Tweed Coast Raiderettes will have a bit to say with that. They will have a date with today's runners-up. Potentially could even be here, depending on how A grade goes.
Absolutely. Which we think, oh, she's away.
Yeah, there's going to be a run. I think that's Lily Patterson. In the second phase of play, 20 metres out from the Byron line. This is going to, I think that's Stephanie Good. 25 metres out. And this is, they want to take it up centre. On the 10 metres out. They've got a good set on the right side. This is going to do, right for Shate-king. She doesn't need her. This will be 8-0 for the Morris Brothers Mermats.
Whole half of footy's been down this end, and it's been compounded by some undiscipline, ill-discipline rather from Byron
Of course.
Bay. Back-to-back back-to-back penalties, and Marist Brothers probably just using the football a little bit better than Byron Bay in these conditions.
You cannot give this team, who have won the minor premiership 2 years in a row, 3 consecutive penalties and expect to get nothing from it. So that's now 8 points to now. Shatea King lines this one up.
What have we got, mate? We've got 13 minutes before half-time. It'd be interesting to see what transpires in this next little bit, because this could be a ball game right here if Byron Bay can't get back on track short.
Shatea King, you'd back her all day to get that one, but not to be. It is now 8 points to 0. Mate, if you just joined us here on the live stream, this is first versus second. Trying to find. As I did mention a few minutes ago, these two teams have played in the opening round at Red Devil Park. It was a 16-10 win for Marist Brothers over Byron. And then these two teams featured on July 1st. It was 12-4. So the games have been about 6 to 8 points. It's now an 8-point lead now. And as I said, Crossy, 10 points or more is the magic number for Marist Brothers. They don't lose when they score more than 10.
Well, that's a concern for the Bay. I noticed Taylor James has come on for Byron Bay, which will make a big difference to their attack. So watch this space. Let's hope they can get some footy and build some pressure.
Jessica Wright played the first play back then. I can't really make out who the number is now. And a bit of a bobble there. I think that was Lily Patterson. And they're giving away another one, Byron. That's 4 in a row, Crossy.
I don't know what that was for. Yeah, just give himself no chance. If we see a quick tap.
I think that is Jada Williams. Played off there by Jessica Wright.
Good tap.
They've travelled about an hour to be here today, Marist Brothers. I think it's about an hour's drive. I think.
Yeah, in the wet conditions, and they tell me as the further north they went, the heavier the rain got. So I don't know if they're expecting exactly these conditions, but that's what we've got, and they're the cards that have been dealt.
And let's just put it this way, as I said last week, we do need this rain, especially for our farmers out there, out more so inland.
It's good to see. It's good sleeping weather.
Exactly. So that's Michaela Piggott, 35 metres out, played off there by Jada Williams. And I think that's Kylie Davis. She had a bit of a late number change. She normally plays in number 11, but she's playing in the 14 today. I think this is O'Neill, and the ball's a piece of soap there for Victoria O'Neill. Byron will have it about 30 out from their own line.
The tail runner out the back instead of the lead. They actually would have created some numbers there, but they might look at that for next time.
As Byron now have it, that's played off there by Sinead Eberlin from dummy half. This is now going to be
It's Tegan Miller.
Tegan Miller, 40 metres out, third phase of play. Oh, that's kind of floated backwards. But there was a knock on there, so he tried to regather. Marist Brothers will have another set of 6 inside Byron's half a field.
And again, just can't get any cohesion or consistency, Dwayne. It's unfortunate because they've had a great year, Byron Bay. The right mindset in these wet conditions.
As it plays. No, that's a nice run there. Oh, Lily Patterson. Sorry, that was Kylie Davis. They're 30 metres out. Away it goes. I think this is McNally. Oh, I think that can be a double knock on. Byron should get the feed.
Again, Marist Brothers, really good ball movement in these wet conditions, and they're showing Byron Bay that it can be done, although it didn't end well. They're creating numbers on this this edge, and it's only a matter of time before they actually get that.
And I was just making mention though that today's runners-up do play Tweed Coast here. Last loss for the Bay did come against Tweed Coast here. Last time they visited at this very ground, 14-4.
Yep.
And they have been on a 4-game winning streak since, but that will be in the back of their minds if they can't get something done here today. So it might not actually be guaranteed to be a grand final between these two once more.
They're obviously showing their hand here, Byron Bay. They're very keen to get it to this left edge and try to use the speed of Crowther, but
Of course.
unfortunately they're not opening up enough of the field to do that at this stage.
She's dispersed there by Alicia Good. This is Christina Roberts getting some yardage out of that. Bounce was kind for Christina Roberts. She's collected there. I think that's Shatay King.
Yep, wiggle of the hips.
This play will see it get back in Byron half a field. They've always looked dangerous when they get inside Byron's half a field.
Jess Melling with a good tag there.
And I think that's going to be Stephanie Good. Both of these teams have showed why they have such a well representative on both teams in the Northern Rivers rep team. And as I was making a mention earlier, Corin, you being involved in the Titans, Crossy, that the Gold Coast Titans have gone that extra step further for our representative teams for next year. Leyland Northern Rivers Titans as well adopting the strip.
It's fantastic, mate. I was at the Titans game last night and speaking to a couple of the officials after the game, and they're very excited about the association with the Northern Rivers.
And
Obviously, it's been a loose association till now, but to actually formalise it, it's really, really good.
As well as that, as well as this live stream, which became apparent last week. And what a time to follow Northern Rivers football.
It's great. It's getting better and better. So.
And Jada Williams gets a sneaky try. And then now that should see him up to 12 points to nil. And as I said, Crossy, that puts him in the safe zone.
Yeah, well, if your stats are right and you are the statistician there, I'll never ever begrudge what you've done on your stats side. But that's right, 10 points or more, then they're going to be hard to beat from here. But unfortunately for Byron Bay things, they just haven't looked like striking flow all game.
But I also mentioned as well, stats do out the window in finals time and ladder position and whatnot, as we've seen in Group 2. So as Shatay King about to line up the kick to potentially make it 14-0. So those at the Titans, are they familiar with this, with the new live stream that we do have here? Because I did make mention that it also gives these players out here another platform to be seen to potentially get a gig with the Titans or someone similar.
Absolutely, mate. You know, and I think, are they familiar with the live stream? Well, I think strengthen as we build, and particularly, with your commitment for next year, to do 1 game a week as a minimum. So I think augurs well for the area, and most importantly for the pathway for junior players.
Totally.
To have a genuine pathway into a higher system.
So of course you're referring to the Andrew Johns and Laurie Daly Cup. They'll be known as the Northern Rivers Titans, and to my knowledge will adopt the strip. And that was NRRL's plan, to get all these clubs, so all these representative regions, to have an NRL backing.
Which is what we need, and it's an obvious one for this area, given our geographical location compared to the Titans. They're just up the road, so looking forward to it. And the Titans are on the way up too, with a lot of good things happening.
100%, 100%.
And on the field. So.
And as I was mentioning, there was a news piece during the week that featured this that did. What's happening? Oh no! As we come now, 40 metres out, away it goes. It's all right. Yeah, 40 metres out. That's Jada Williams. Kick goes up. And that just ricocheted off the puddle there, Crossy.
Kathleen Oliver making a good run back from fullback.
Nice run.
We've got Dwayne, 4 minutes. Byron Bay really need to find something here in this last 4 minutes to take into half time and build some confidence.
It's 14-0 now, Morris Brothers over Byron Bay. As I was mentioned, Morris Brothers have not lost. Their only losses, which were only 2, only came when they scored 10 points or less. But anyway, this is finals. Anything can potentially happen. Byron.
We need to see Christina Roberts going to the line with numbers. She's their go-to. She's
Dunbar Reid with the kick. And it'll at least keep Morris Brothers deep inside Byron and their own half of field. This is Shataya, I think that's Shataya King.
She's a handful.
They're going to play this deep inside their own half in the first phase. And
Good ball movement.
that's Jada Williams. I think
That's the first time I've seen Byron Bay have to make a tag inside the 10 metres.
yeah, that's really, this is what they really need to do. It's not getting into, it's getting it into the point where Byron have to be next to score. These teams only play 20-minute halves to memory, or 25?
That's a great question to pose.
I think it's 20. 25. Is it fifth and last? Jada Williams. I think that's Jada Williams with the kick. And the bounce isn't going to be favourable for, I think, Shannon Crowther. She boots. That's going to be offside if Dunbar Reid picks it up. And that was an interesting play.
It's hit Morris Brothers, but was it play though? I don't
Christina Roberts knew she was offside, so she didn't collect it.
I'm not sure what he's ruled there, but it looks like Byron Bay got 6 more.
And that is interesting. This is actually, I think that is Dunbar Reid.
Dunbar Reid,
Yep.
yeah.
This is going to be
Jarrett.
Jarrett. Nice run. Nice run by Jarrett. Taylor Jarrett, 40 metres out from the Morris Brothers line. They're playing the short side of field. That goes to Dunbar Reid. Crowther. She's dispersed there about 35 metres out from the Morris Brothers line. That's gone to Dunbar Reid. Back to Crowther. This could be, first point's good backing for Byron. But they're dispersed 20 metres out. 1 minute to go left in the first half here in the ladies' tag, Major Semi. Fifth and last. Brad Goodwin signals fifth and last. This will be handy if Byron can get points from here. And the kick goes up. And she's tagged there before the kick comes off. Morris Brothers have it 10 metres out from their own line.
Great defence from Morris Brothers there at the end. I think it was Roberts went to the line and was it Alyssa Good?
I think that was, yeah.
It was outstanding.
As Morris right now, they'll just let this run down. 30 seconds out. Byron shouldn't see this again for the first half if providing Morris Brothers can hold on to it. They should go in with 14-0. Jada Williams plays it from dummy, but I think they'll see the kick. Byron will probably get one play at most. And that is Kathleen Oliver chasing it. Another one of those representatives in the ladies' tag for Northern Rivers. And that will be time. They'll only just get time to play one more. And that is the half-time hooter. Brad Goodwin does call time. What were your thoughts of the first half there, Crossy? As they see now, as they assemble it here, right here in front of us on the field, as it's half time here in the ladies' tag in the major semi-final on the week 2 of the finals on the second match day. It's half time here at Lesberger Field. It is Morris Brothers, all with one-way traffic in their favour, 14. Byron Bay Red Devils now. We're just going to take a break here for a few minutes and we'll be back with you for the second half. Oh, your mic was off. Damn it.
You got the thing turned on at the side? And the mic?
Where is it? Oh, look at when I saw him say he's going to wear the tie,
mate. Why weren't you dressed like that yesterday?
Coffee, have you got me? Can you hear me? Louder. Thank you. See you later, mate. Good to see you, mate. Yeah. Talk loud. Is that better?
Yeah, I got you.
Mate, that Raider got the Raiders tie. Looks a treat.
Mate.
Keep talking like that. About there. About there. That's the spot.
Then don't turn it off. You touch your finger and move your hand and it comes off. You can get your format, but you've got to have an SD card and SD card and record it there. No, we took it out and gave it to Steve.
Yeah, no, I put another one in, so I wasn't holding it.
So we put it in there. It's right to go? Put another one in. Really big.
Well, I tell you what, I was saying in the call, I said I'm putting even money on someone doing the best Jim Carrey impersonation of the cable guy in that puddle. Take the dice on it now. I thought it'd be a bit close.
Did you say the rabbit? Rabbits! Did you say the rabbit?
You watch the Broncos, I'll come back.
Oh, they will not, Benny.
When did you update the guy?
They're out this week. The Broncos. You reckon they're delivering?
It's hard to tell on this video.
So we've all four of us now. All four of us have had audio troubles. Mine's only because I was distorted. I had to mic like this. So you might have to just give us a yellow. Good. All right. Dwayne Neville and Nathan Cross joining you here from Lesburger Field here in Cabarita for the second match day of this weekend's final series in the NRRRL. If you just joined us, it's Major Brothers. 14 points to 0. That's been all their way. But what did Byron need to do to get back in this one, Crossy? And as I did mention, today's host, the Tweed Coast Raiders. The Tweed Coast Raiders awaits for today's runners-up. As Byron are running left to right. And Brad Goodwin and his team of officials are just making their way onto the field now. Yeah. We could almost swap them. Byron Bay about to run left to right. And we're away. Byron opting for the short kickoff.
Ooh, it's a tricky one.
Well collected there by Stephanie Good. This is the wettest part of the field, though, so maybe there's a little bit of hope for Byron yet that maybe they can force some errors in this wet patch that the Maris brothers are playing in at the moment.
Yeah, we saw in that first half a couple of kicks from Morris Brothers that Byron Bay struggled to deal with, so that may turn this half, as you say.
Patterson dispersed there on the 5th and last phase of play. That's going to be sent there. It's going to be collected by, I can't quite make the number. Crossy, can you? I think that is Battery? No.
I think it's Oliver.
Kathleen Oliver.
Yeah.
So the dummy half playing at the fullback position there. And playing on the close side of field there. That was LaFawn. Played there by Evelyn. And well dispersed there by Jessica Raitt. 40 metres out.
There's Jess Melling. That's a good run.
Good. Not quite getting it into Morris Brothers half the field. This is going to be Christina Roberts. I think that's Christina Roberts.
I think it's Jarrett.
Jarrett. And it's going to disperse there on Morris's 10-metre line. It's going to be down.
There's Shatea King.
And needs a couple of players with dispersed there, 20 metres out.
Played there by Jada Williams. And you'd think, though, if Morris Brothers get the next to score here, then that could be almost it for this one.
That'll be a good night for Byron Bay. So they really need to build some pressure here through their defence and then try to limit Morris Brothers' go forward.
And, I think there might have been a knock forward there. Brad Goodwin does confirm it. This is probably Byron's best chance of the game to get some points.
So far, mate. They need to make something of this set. They've been disjointed all game. This is their chance.
So they'll have it about 25 metres away from the Morris Brothers line. It's going to be now played there by Angela Vannery. Ran there by, that is Taylor Jarrett. 20 metres out from the Morris line. Byron certainly have to be next to score from here. It's going to be played there, I think, like that was Kathleen Oliver played. This was meant for Dunbar Reed, but it's been cut out. 10 metres out. They're playing on that short side of field. It worked for them last week against Ballina. This is the fourth phase of play. And, I mean, it's interesting that they're not spreading this one out on the 5th here, Crossy. 5th and last now.
Yeah, here they go. Morris Brothers are quite compressed here.
Crossfield kick. Should find the hands of Byron, but it's going to go forward. Well collected there by Morris Brothers.
Kind of sums up the day, doesn't it, at the moment? The bounce of the ball's going for Morris Brothers, and rightly so. They've been by far the better team.
This is Jessica Raitt. Williams has either side to choose from. She does choose the close side. Well dispersed there by the Devils.
Good tag, Megan Curran.
They're at least keeping Morris Brothers deep inside their own half. That didn't happen in the first half. And no, that's short. Could have went forward. Brad Goodwin's given the brothers benefit of the doubt. Williams to play it. This is better defending for Byron. But as I say that, Lily Patterson goes for a run. She should be two. She's got one to beat. Oh, well defended there. Looked like Lily Patterson's been making line breaks all game, Crossy.
Yeah, she looks a class player, Patterson.
One of those representatives for the Northern Rivers. And it is 5th and last. This is going to be... Jessica Wright, she's got numbers on the left. She does go for it, but I think she just met the sideline. Well defended there by Byron.
And that was McAnally again. I've been really impressed with her today. She's the captain. So I've just been interrupted there. But yeah, every time she gets a ball, she's a threat. And she's obviously the go-to for Morris Brothers, as Crowther has a run.
As I was mentioning before in the first half, unfortunately, we had a bit of mic issue on your end. So I wanted to reiterate about the Gold Coast Titans coming back, providing, as the Morris Brothers fans to our right start cheering on.
There's Benny, the man himself.
He's a diehard. There's always that one diehard, as we know, for each club in the NRRRL. But as I was iterating, the Gold Coast Titans have taken it up a couple of notches in their commitment for Northern Rivers Rugby League, as well as we now got the live stream. So you're making mention that you were at the Titans game last night against Melbourne Storm. How did that all go for you on the Titans end, as far as Northern Rivers footy is concerned?
It was a good night last night. There was the old boys night. A lot of guys from the Northern Rivers area that have been played for the old Gold Coast Seagulls or Chargers days. And
that's going back.
There was a 200 club after the game. I was there with a lot of the boys last night talking to some of the officials, and a lot of excitement around the now new sort of deal with the Northern Rivers Rugby League and the Gold Coast Titans. And as you said, mate, the representative teams will now wear the colours and bear the name. So she's away the floor.
That was Lily Patterson once more. Yes, I did mention they will be known as Northern Rivers Titans.
As the kick goes across field, there is attacking numbers from Morris. They get some hands to it. The bounces for anyone to take. Well collected there by Jessica Raitt. And penalty Morris Brothers.
Well, that just sums up the day once again, doesn't it? You know, and again, full credit to Morris Brothers. They're a threat every time they got the ball. Their tackle 5 options are very good. And as they attack their line, 5 metres out.
Jessica Raitt takes it. It's going to be now played there by Georgia Davis. And this is... Oh, I couldn't make out who that is. But it will be Jada Williams to play it from dummy. She could have went herself. I think there was a little gap there. Jada Williams could have gone herself then. There's numbers on the left. Morris Brothers in again. That's now making it 8 points to 0. They should have one spot into another grand final there, Crossy.
That was a great try. I was just keeping an eye on Hayley McAnally there. She started on the right-hand side of the field, saw the numbers on the left. She swept in behind the ruck, got the ball early, and I just couldn't make out Dwayne, the try scorer there, run a very good line off McAnally to score that try. It was actually really good footy.
So that was Stephanie Good, who was the try scorer. One of those representatives, one of the 7 representatives Morris Brothers Ramets do possess.
Obviously, there's a very good combination there with McAnally. That was class play. Whether it's at a league tag level or a rugby league level, that's good play in anyone's books.
As the kick, been a bit unlucky with the boot she's taking. She normally knows how to slot them over. Still, as it is now 18-0. Morris Brothers getting the job done against Byron Bay.
She might be having a word with Dad after the game. Shataya King, just about the how to strike him, and Chris King was known for kicking him from everywhere.
Just please,
so.
whatever you do, don't, because as Kev said in the commentary last week, when Wade Kelly from Moolumbar, he's an amazing kicker. He said he was going to eat his hat if he hadn't got a certain kick over, and it went over the black dot on the sideline. So I hope. So you didn't bring any aioli or hats or anything that you're not going to put that up?
I didn't bring that, mate. No, I noticed Kev said he'd just need a bit of sauce with his hat, but I haven't got any sauce or a hat, so I won't be making any wild comments today.
That's good to see. So Stephanie Good, she is no stranger to the try line. On 3 occasions, she has gone over for a double, including Byron Bay. The other 2 games coming from Ballina and Lower Clarence. As the rain starts to pick back up again, just a slight drizzle. This ground is well suited for wet weather, as you can see. Like, don't let the puddles fool you. This was actually a swimming pool of Cabarita here. More water than the river, or more water than the surf across the road here, Crossy.
They're away again here.
And I think that's going to be Alicia Good on the sidelines. She's dispersed 15 metres out. Passed off there by Canelli. That's going to be... This is Lily Patterson. She would have to hit double figures for line breaks today, Lily Patterson. But there's too many numbers on the left for Morris. If they get through the hands, they could potentially score again. It's about 3 on 2. And then, well dispersed there by the Bay.
Great intercept there. Christina Roberts just saved it at the end. But again, I've mentioned her a number of times now. Hayley McAnally, the sublime cut-out pass there, just summed up the numbers perfectly. Unfortunately, the last pass just didn't go to hand.
That was a try for all money in the making there for Morris Brothers, and that certainly would have been it, as there are about 16 minutes left in this one. 18-0 if you just joined us on the live stream on YouTube. Trust you're enjoying the coverage. Hope you're keeping warm. As we're seeing a bit more of a crowd flock in. I just said the locals will be in later on for when A grade shows up. And then Brad Goodwin has called it a forward pass.
That's unlucky there. At least the Red Devils, they're actually some enterprising play now. We saw Crowther just throw a long pass for Eberlane before down that side, and then I think that was that might have been Tegan Miller trying a hand as well. They need to do something outside the box to get back.
This is now going to be, I think that's Courtney King. That is Courtney King. They're favouring that left side, Morris Brothers. They know most of their tries have scored come from here. This is Confiance Idrineza. This is Stephanie Good to play from dummy. Gets it off to McAnally. And this is Shataya King. And I think she could get one in just short.
I think that was Oliver again with a try saver.
They're playing left side of field. This is going to be Jessica Wright. She did have confidence. Idraneza on the left, and I think they're in again, Morris brothers. Jessica and Brad Goodwin to confirm it. Thus now making the score 22 points to nil. Morris brothers over the Byron Bay Red Devils.
And again, it just comes from pressure. And one thing Morris brothers have done really well today is on the back of good play, they've played the ball really quick and gained momentum for that next play. And we just saw that right there. Byron Bay didn't get off their line, were caught napping. And unfortunately for the Red Devils fans, it's now 22-0.
So Morris brothers, Ramettes. Another grand final date does seem to beckon for them in a couple of weeks' time. Could potentially be here, depending on how the A-grade fixture does turn out. It'll either be here or Ballina.
Yeah, that's going to be very interesting later on. Looking forward to calling that with you, Dwayne, this afternoon.
Yes.
In the A-grade game.
And, of course, the grand final match day as well.
Absolutely. So whether we're here or Ballina, it's going to be good.
Of course, Morris brothers would probably do prefer Ballina because of the distance. It is about a solid hour's drive here today. Though they'll still have a massive supporter base no matter where the grand final is. As I was making mention in the 18s call yesterday with Lower Clarence, that was a 2.5 hour drive for them. It's about two. That one is also unlucky for though that one was a bit hard. I think that was. Correct me if I'm wrong. Was that Lily Patterson with the kick?
I think that was King again.
No, it was Shataya King. No.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, so it is 22-0. So I was making mention of the Lower Clarence 18s. They could potentially have their 4th trip up to the Tweed Shire next week, depending on how results go here. And I was saying to Kev that they might want to make a week of it. Because that would be another solid 2.5 hours travel for the Lower Clarence 18s. But they certainly had their supporter base come as well.
It's solid travel, isn't it, you know? On the flip side, while it is draining, at this time of year, the excitement levels are high. It's why you play footy, is to play in these semi-finals. So I'm sure that won't worry them too much. As brothers back on the attack.
No one's well playing the 40-metre line there. And of course, that also, we were talking about the Gold Coast Titans. I mean, with now the new... it's been in place now for about 10 years, the motorway upgrades. It's only an hour from Byron to, as I speak for Byron, as you know, about 40 minutes, as quick as 35, 40 minutes. I remember back in the day, it used to be an hour and a half to get to the coast.
It did, depending where you were, sort of what part of the rivers you were coming from. But now it's so easy, you know, travelling down the freeway there, which I suppose is probably 10 or 15 years old.
Yeah.
The years get away, but yeah, it's an easy trip.
And as we also mentioned too, because we get a lot of visitors, especially down this region from the Gold Coast. So, and I hope that if anyone here from the Gold Coast is watching too, let us know where you're watching this coverage from, whether you're watching interstate or even if you're not even in Australia. Because I know there's people watching it from around the world.
Absolutely.
I know. I can speak on good authority. The US is covered.
The beautiful sounds of the golden voice, the golden microphone here, Dwayne Neville.
We'll be Saturday night football over there. I trust you're enjoying the coverage as Byron Bay do get a penalty.
Well, it's not out of the question for Byron Bay to come back here, although it seems very unlikely given the way that Morris brothers have been playing today. But if they're to get going, they need to get going this set of 6. They need a good kick for touch here and really set something up. Let's see how we go.
It's 11 minutes out and they're 22 down, so they're having to do double a point a minute. So they got to get something off this play. No two ways about it.
This set of 6 is the game for Byron Bay.
And they probably will use those puddles there between the 20 and 30 metre line on Morris' side of the field as an advantage. That is another hazard for these teams to potentially get something off. As I can't quite make out the number, but that was Lily Patterson who would have to be the player for me thus far into this game. She's made that many line breaks and also been clinical in defence.
She's been enormous, yeah. Although they've had a few. I've mentioned McAnally as well.
As Byron played, they've got numbers on the right. That was the late replacement there, Sarah Logan. Played there by Tegan Miller. 10 metres out. They do have either side to choose from, Byron. Could this be their first points for the game? And they're going for the kick, and it's going to be well collected there. I think that's Victoria O'Neill, but I think that's... it was a knock-on for Byron, so Brad Goodwin was playing advantage there, Crossy.
He was, and I think, like we spoke about off air with Shannon Walker yesterday, I think if Byron Bay are a chance, they've got to get Crowther in the game. She's their go-to lady. She's a flyer, one of the fastest in the competition. Even an early kick, play 2, play 3, catch them napping. But it has to be this set.
As we now approach about 9 minutes and change left in this one in the grand final qualifier, the ladies tag. Morris Brothers sitting pretty at 22-0. They potentially going to back-to-back grand finals. As we play that now 20 metres out, I think this is... I think that's going to be Stephanie Good. She had 2 players to beat, couldn't quite do it. And Kathleen Oliver in frustration throws the tags. Yeah,
good hands.
Lily Patterson, I think, gets it off to Victoria O'Neill.
That was your girl, Patterson, again there.
Yeah,
good hands.
Last. She should send this one a nice grub, but she's going to kick it right into the puddles. But it was well dispersed there by the Red Devils. And nice run there. No, I think that's the captain, Christina Roberts. I could be wrong.
I think it's...
No? Running towards us, couldn't make out the number. Nevertheless, 30 metres out from the Byron line.
Good footy.
Got nice run there. Should see inside Morris half a field. But that was well dispersed there. I think that was Shatea King.
Yeah, good run, Kathleen Oliver. That's the best they've looked all day. They need to move it, get the ball wide here.
And there we go. That's going out to... That's a nice run. She beats everyone. Has just Shatea King to beat. But, no. Morris Brothers fans were protesting for 4, but I think it was just going to be called back.
Great run, Miller. Here they go.
They've got numbers on the left there, Byron. And penalty Byron Bay. Surely points will have to come here for Byron. And this is their best chance of the game without a doubt. A set of 6 within about 15 metres from the Morris Brothers line.
Well, they need to get moving here. They're sort of having a bit of a meeting, but they need to get on with it.
As they play now, I think they're just going to play it safe. I think she's over.
I think she's been tagged. They've called the tag.
I think Brad Wood's checking with the assistants. This should be first point for the Bay, and it is. Morris Brothers will not keep Byron scoreless. It will be 22 points to 4, though.
Yeah, potentially a little bit lucky there. I thought they might have made the tag there, brothers. However, we move on. It is 4 points, kick to come. And if I was Byron Bay, I'd be looking at an early kick here to get Shannon Crowther in the game. What have we got, Dwayne? 7 minutes to go. They're really running out of time here. They've got some points to make up. They need to go for broke.
It would at least, at very least, give them momentum to carry on the next week against Tweed Coast if it does stand as such. Tweed Coast coming in from 4th place, but potentially have the home ground advantage next week.
Yeah, well, that's very interesting, and that's spot on. If that was the case, if Ballina get the job done in A grade, and Byron Bay come back here next week against Tweed, they have that advantage, don't they, with the home crowd? 100%. So, for a positive for Byron Bay, the last 5 minutes has been their best. So hopefully they can play at these final 7 minutes and build confidence for next week, as you alluded to. As
the kick was unsuccessful there, the score does now remain 22 points to 4. Morris Brothers over Byron Bay. About 7 minutes to go here in this one. Of course, coming up next, we have another grand final rematch from last season between Ballina Seagulls and the Coogin Hornets. Another swag of representatives featured for both teams. Of course, mentioning the Laurie Daly Cup. Some of these players have already played on this field when they played against the Newcastle Knights development squad very early into the year. In similar conditions too.
Yeah, it'll be a good game. The 18s will be a really good game next, and I know there'll be some guys pressing for those pathways that we alluded to before, and certainly some guys from the Titans are showing some interest in a few of these players here today.
And of course, that's what you can all see it here on the NRRRL live stream on YouTube. And of course, it gives the Gold Coast Titans scouts an extra initiative. They don't actually have to send their scouts to the grounds. They can actually watch these players at any time. Of course, you can see the replays straight after the game's finished. So you can. It's there for the world to see, and
it is
another platform for them to check out. It's hopefully some up-and-coming talent for the Gold Coast Titans. As Byron Bay get a penalty, they going on with a little bit of a run here, the Devils. Could be a little bit too late to get 18 points in the next 5 minutes, but they're really clicking into gear. Could be a little bit too late. Too little too late, though, Crossy.
Unfortunately, yeah. I'd like to see a bit more urgency from the Bay. down 22-4, you would think that they'd be really trying to make the most of these last 5 minutes, but they seem to be sort of having a meeting or a bit disorganised each time they get the ball here, so hopefully they can address that this week of training.
As Byron take it up to the 30-metre line, and the rain is starting to pick back up again. We're predicting about 20 to 40 mil of rain today, though that was supposed to be the case yesterday, but as of course you saw, it was perfect skies at Coogin. It's Byron to have it 25 metres out. And oh dear. And oh, interesting. That was Brad Goodwin has called played on. That is very interesting there.
That was like the Billy Slater try at the start of the year where the famous kick. Oh, nice play here.
And Byron could even score off that. No, fifth and last.
That's a try.
She was just tagged just before she got over. I thought for all money that was a knock forward though.
Yeah, it's a knock on in my book, but anyway, we continue.
Fifth and last. Kick across field. And there is numbers on the left for the Bay. It's going to fall just short. Morris Brothers will have this 20 metres out from their own line.
That was a great kick there. I think it was either Roberts or Jarrett. I didn't see which one, but again, kick for the corner of Crowther and force a dropout.
No, it's going to be a dropout. So Morris Brothers did have the Ramouts had the last touch of the ball.
Nice big in goals here at Tweed Coast Raiders field, which certainly come into play in the A grade later on. Some very smart playmakers will make use of the big in goals here in the wet conditions.
As they play there, 25 metres out. So of course the Ram, their two-time minor premiers, they were looking very good now to have a chance to actually get vengeance in a way, or at least try and claim the title if they do play Byron Bay in the grand final. They'll get the win today, but the big one will be the grand final. They want to get that title, which Byron took from second place last year. As I play, I think it's the third phase of play. They'll go. There is numbers on the right for the Bay. That's gone forward from the Morris Brothers. This could be potentially six more, and it is.
6 more and play on.
Though I think there was a tag back. As we're talking about some of these players, that I've got about for the Morris Brothers. Alicia Good, I've got here that she's actually going to graduate this year from Southern Cross Uni for a teaching degree. She also played rugby sevens for Southern Cross Uni as well.
Oh, wow.
And for Alicia Good, that was Alicia Good I just mentioned. Lily Patterson, she's in her first season of ladies tag and then NRRRL. She's second most NRL ladies tag tries, and she's most tries for the Ramets, scoring 19.
She's had a good year.
And Hayley McAnally's actually the captain coach of this squad.
Yeah, she's a class player, McAnally. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but she's an Australian Oztag player.
Yeah. And, yeah, we'll have to check on that one. So, as you did mention for Chatea King, she's a Roosters under-18s. Kicked 28. She has kicked 28 goals this season. The daughter of Chris King, as you mentioned. And
well, they've been the best team all year, and they've certainly flexed their muscle here today with 2 minutes to go. Byron Bay, they've certainly got it in them to compete with this Morris Brothers Ramouts team.
And Stephanie,
but they'll need to find something.
And Stephanie Good, she's also the sister of Alicia. She's also too a rugby sevens player for Southern Cross Uni. And there's actually Georgia Davis and Kylie Davis. That is I think. So let me just check. Kylie Davis is the mother of Georgia Davis. So there's a mother-daughter connection in this Morris Brothers team. So, and it does show on the field with the connection they have, becoming two-time minor premiers.
That's a special thing to play mother-daughter combination. So, yeah, good on them.
And as we draw in the dying seconds here, Morris Brothers. No, I think that's going to be well collected there. I think there might be a double knock on to finish this one off. 22 points to fall. Morris will take this, unless they score another try in the last 20 seconds. They have booked themselves a second consecutive grand final date. They will look to go one better than they did last year. They'll potentially a grand final rematch does beckon. Byron will have another chance to defend their crown as they'll take on the Tweed Coast Raiders next week. And that is the full-time hooter. And they won't even play the right side of players. Morris Brother Ramets will move on to the grand final once again as minor premiers. They've done it here in style. It's against the Byron Bay Red Devils, 22 points to 4. Byron Bay, they do have a second chance next week.
What do Byron Bay need to do next week to potentially book themselves a second grand final date and set up a potential rematch?
Well, it was a convincing win by the Ramettes today, wasn't they? From the very start of play to the end, they were by far the better team. Byron Bay, the glimpses were very short. You know, there was only a couple of minutes during the game where they looked threatening. I think they'll be the coach Keegan will be very disappointed with that performance today. But full credit to Morris Brothers. Look, what do they need to do? I think they need to go away and get a little bit more cohesion at training. I know they do train hard, but today they looked a bit unsure of themselves at certain times. You know, players or passes rather going astray. They'll be disappointed with that, but they shouldn't be. They've had a good year. They've got another week to prepare themselves for a big game, potentially here next week, as you said, and have another crack at the title. And I think from memory, this is what sort of unfolded last year. Morris Brothers went straight through, I believe.
That's exactly what happened. So as I mentioned, as I've seen in local sports, not just in rugby league, but as I can use another Rams team in Byron Bay, the Byron Bay Rams, for example, against another Lismore team of the Richmond Rovers. The Rams, they were minor premiers, and I remember not one but two seasons, one midweek. I recall a 4-1 win between the Byron Rams and Morris, and the Richmond Rovers took the title. So whilst Morris Brothers will be happy they got some exact revenge, this is their third win against the Devils. They'll know the big one beckons for them in 2 weeks' time. They'll have another week off as we wrap things up here in the ladies' tag. Full time in the ladies' tag here in the grand final qualifier. It is Morris Brothers victorious 22 over the Byron Bay Red Devils 4. Coming up next is the under-18s fixture between the Ballina Seagulls and Coogin Hornets, another grand final qualifier. Though me and Crossy are going to have a spell for that one. We're going to join you back for the reserve grade fixture between the Morris Brothers Rams versus the Coogin Hornets. And of course in the A grade fixture later on between the Tweed Coast Raiders and the Ballina Seagulls. Don't go anywhere though. We will have the stream of the 18s match, and of course we'll be back with you for the reserve grade fixture that will follow.